Warm and graceful evening to all the participants. Welcome for this CVE e-learning platform for field veterinarian. I will request Mr. P. Karunanidhi, Senior Vice President, Sales Marketing, LME Pharmaceutical Limited, to introduce our today's eminent speaker.
Yeah, good evening, Santosh and my fellow colleagues from Alembic and all the veterinarians who are participating in this program from all over the country, and also Dr. Kausalendra Pratap Singh. So I take great pleasure in introducing Dr. KP Singh, who is a veterinary medical officer in Department of Animal Husbandry, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Normally, whatever programs we have done, webinars we have done, mostly the speaker used to be from a veterinary college, either assistant professor or head of the department, dean. So that level people only we have done it. If you see the type of award they used to get, the type of papers they publish will be now, you will find so many papers they used to publish. That is the professors, assistant professors who are working in veterinary college. Similarly, Dr. KP Singh, if you see his credentials, he also, though he is working in a government department as a field veterinarian, because of his interest in the subject, he has published so many papers, which details I will just tell you. When we came out with this proposal, a webinar on the re-emerging zoonotic disease of glanders and farcy. So even we were not that much aware, particularly I was not that much aware. So when we start discussing with Dr. KP Singh, we come to know that this is very critical. And more importantly, the difference between a normal practitioner and an expert is that the experts who always seek to improve their knowledge and their skill set to handle any kind of situation in the field. A normal practitioner will look after whatever the cases are coming in, routine cases they will treat, and when they find something different, they will refer to, like a referral case, they will refer to a nearby person or whom they are known to them. So that is why, as an expert veterinarian, you should know this type of, though it is rare disease, it is not very common like rabies, but still it is very important for all of you to know. So that is why we have decided to share this Dr. KP Singh knowledge with all the field veterinarians of this country. So coming back to Dr. KP Singh, he is 1976 born in Lucknow. He has 15 years of experience in academic, research and clinical practice in the field of veterinary and animal sciences. He is having keen interest in equine practice, and he will be publishing a book called Management of Colic in Equine very soon. I think the book is already ready. He is going to print anytime soon. Dr. KP Singh has completed his graduation BVSc and AH in 2003 from Pantnagar University, and he has done his masters in gynecology and obstetrics in 2005 from Duasu, Mathura, and further he has joined as a teaching associate in CVSc AH, that is Pantnagar College in Uttarakhand in 2005 and 2006, and from 2006 to 2010 he was a serving teaching associate in Kumarganj, Faizabad, Uttar Pradesh College. He has qualified ICAR NET examination in 2006 and 2009 and 2010. 3 times he has qualified. His clinical expertise and willingness to help farmers to make their animal productive. Therefore, he has landed as a veterinary officer in 2010 in Department of Animal Husbandry in Government of Uttar Pradesh. He is still working there as a veterinary officer in Bareilly district. His research work and publications are 188. He has authored 4 books, laboratory manuals. He has prepared 3 such manuals. Research paper published in journals are 61, 38 research articles, 23 case reports, and 4 review articles, and 8 technical articles. So it is very rare for a field veterinarian to publish so many such papers in his credit. Research paper presented, published in conferences and symposium are 57. Abstract presented, published in international conferences are 15. An abstract presented, published in national conferences are 42. Popular articles are 55. So this is in nutshell that, it shows that though he is a field veterinarian, his interest in his research work or sharing his knowledge, sharing his practical knowledge with the field veterinarians and publishing the same information in the reputed journals. So it is very visible with this kind of citations. And KP Singh also has got awards and citations, which I would like to mention few. RGM Best Field Veterinarian Award in 2018, which was presented on World Milk Day in 2018. And Farmers Lead Extension Award in 2019. Best Veterinarian Award in 2019 by Agriculture and Environmental Technology Department Society. And 3 Best Paper Award in one symposium at Duwasu, Mathura from 2019, that is, which was conducted on November 8th and 9th. And he has participated in various conferences in designing the posters. So 4 best posters he has designed. Best clinical articles for best article, comparative evaluation of antimicrobial in treatment of improving consumption rate in endometric crossbreed cows. So he has done 11 TV talks through ETV Uttar Pradesh, 11 radio talks to his credit. So we have such a knowledgeable person, field veterinarian, who is having a practical knowledge, who is willing to share his in-depth knowledge with you regarding glandular and Farsi disease. So thank you very much, Dr. KP Singh. Over to you, and please start your presentation. And I wish you to have a successful presentation, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such a nice introduction. Good evening. Good evening to all of you. Today, our topic of presentation, glanders and Farsi, a re-emerging zoonotic diseases and overview. Glanders and Farsi, it's also commonly called as droops. Glanders, just a few words in introduction. Glanders is a highly contagious and fatal disease of horse, donkey, and mules caused by Burkholderia mallei, formerly called as Pseudomonas mallei or Actinobacillus mallei. It is characterized by nodules and ulceration in the upper respiratory tract and lungs. Serial of nodules present in the upper respiratory tract and lungs.
So, slide share, please, sir. Slide share.
Some share with share. Dr. Amit, audible or not?
No, sir. Share screen. Share screen, and then you can share your slide, sir. At present, slide is not seen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Audible, Dr. Amit?
Yes, sir. It's visible. It's visible. Yes, sir.
Audible also?
Yeah, audible also. Yes, sir.
Today, our good evening to all of you. Today, our topic of presentation is glanders and FARSI, a re-emerging zoonotic diseases and overview. Myself, Dr. Kausalendra Pratap Singh, as working as veterinary medical officers. Introductions. Glandar is a highly contagious and fatal disease of equine, donkey, basically horses, donkey, and mules, caused by Burkholderia malei. Formally, it is called as Pseudomonas malei or Actinobacillus malei. It is characterized by nodules and ulceration in the upper respiratory tract and lungs. Its serial of nodules present in the upper respiratory tract and lungs. Its skin affections or subcutaneous form is known as FARSI. Glandar is an OI listed disease as described in the Terrestrial Animal Health Code of the World Organization for Animal Health. Any occurrence of glanders must be notified to the OIE. The incubation period of glanders varies from few days to few months depending on the intensity of the exposure. Generally, incubation period 3 to 15 days, but it can be vary from few days to few months up to 6 months. Humans are accidental host and human to human transmission is rare. History, the disease was first identified by Hippocrates in the 4th century. After that, Aristotle named the disease as malus, which is Latin word means depicting a malignant disease. Followed by Solicel in the France, first recognized the contagious nature of the disease. Then after in 1882, Loeffler and Scotch in Germany first time isolate the causative agent of the glanders, that is Burkholderia malei. During World War II, most of the Japanese infected horses with glanders and civilian horses also affected with glanders. These Burkholderia malei basically at that time used as a bio terrorism as infectious agent of Burkholderia malei. It is as generally at that time during World War II it is used as a biological weapons. In 1934, this disease is eliminated from animals in the United States, followed by 1945, 6 lab-acquired cases reported in Camp Detrick, followed by in 2000, human case reported a microbiologist who is working in United States Army Microbiology Research Institute lab was suffering from human glanders case who was suffering from Burkholderia malei infections. Followed by it is re-emerged in 2007 and 8 and outbreak in many part of India. Etiology. Dr. Amit, I am audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Audible. Perfectly audible.
Okay. Etiology. Burkholderia malei is a gram-negative bacteria. It is straight or slightly bent 2 to 5 micron long and 0.3 to 0.8 micron wide. This is the characteristic of this Burkholderia malei bacteria. It is non-spore forming and non-facultative intracellular. It is rod-shaped bacterium. The bacterium is an obligate aerobic except in media containing nitrate. What are the different susceptible hosts? Susceptible host species are horses, mules, donkey. Susceptibility has also been demonstrated in camels, feline living in the wilds, bears, wolves, and dogs. Carnivores like lion may be infected by eating meat. This is acquired infection. Sheep and goat may also get infections. The natural reservoir of Burkholderia malei are all the solipedes. Laboratory animals are also susceptible to glanders, including hamster, mice, guinea pig. And the people who was working with close association of horse, like veterinarians, farriers, and animal workers, who are also susceptible to infection of Burkholderia malei. That It's very susceptible for glanders disease. Mode of transmission in animals. There is only generally two type of transmissions of Burkholderia malayi or glanders disease. One is directly or indirectly. Directly with infectious agent or bacteria or any lesions whose direct contact with either animal or human being, or from indirect contact or from secretions, direct contact or from secretions and excretion whose direct contact with either animals or human being. Where in direct contact with aerosol or so many things was indirectly contaminated feed materials. So two type of transmission, direct and indirect transmissions. Mode of transmission in horses, generally in case of glanders in mules and donkey, it is acute form, whereas in horses, it is chronic form. The organisms are found in the lesion and discharge in chronic form, basically in horses, skin and nasal mucosa, which is source of infection, whereas in case of mules and donkey, the organisms are excreted in feces, urine, saliva, and tears. These are the source of infection. Most common route of transmission is respiratory route, and ingestion of feed and water contaminated by nasal discharge or sputum of affected animal or direct contact with fomite. This is the major route of transmissions. Infected or recovered animal are the important source of infections. Severe and rapidly fatal pneumonia occur after inhalation of Burkholderia malayi. Oral Other route is the oral and cutaneous route of infection can also produce this disease. Dog, cats, wild and zoo carnivores acquire the infection from ingestion of infected horse meat. Latest report in 2011 in Tehran, lion and tigers affected by eating of infected meat. Epidemiology. The disease is common in Asia, Africa, South America, Eastern Europe, and Middle East. In earlier time, it was more widespread worldwide, but now has been eradicated from most of the area like Western Europe, Australia, and North America. But it is still present in South America. Glanders was successfully eradicated from Great Britain in 1928. In 1934, glanders was officially eradicated in domestic animal in the United States of America. During in Indian scenario, what about Indian scenario? During 1808, East India Company appointed Dr. William Moorcroft, a veterinarian, as superintendent of the Bengal study, and he diagnosed glanders, four diseases, that is glanders, strangles, bursati, and anthrax in the horses. And one followed by Major R.D. Verma of Remount Veterinary Corps of Indian Army has reported glanders during the period of 1881 to 84 in the male cart horses working on Bareilly cantonment area. Followed by more outbreak of glandar in the Royal Artillery horses in Naushirabad and Bombay, led to the enactment of Glanders and Force Act 1899, which is still in force in the country. This disease was reintroduced in horses that were imported during Indo-China War in 1962 without subjecting them to proper testing that result in heavy mortality and morbidity among equines. A scientist Ray reported outbreak in army horses in Guwahati during 1979. The last three documented outbreaks are reported from Saharanpur of Uttar Pradesh, Hisar, and Karnal from Haryana during March, July, and September month of 1984, respectively, in equine populations. A scientist, Kumar et al. Kumar and his co-worker reported the last confirmed case of glanders in mule from Rohtak, Haryana, before the current outbreak. After a long gap, the disease was re-emerged in July 2006 at Pune and Panchgani area of Maharashtra state, whereas 23 animals were found positive and had killed about 120 equines with painless death. In 2007, disease outbreak occurred at Gautam Buddha Nagar and Meerut, district of Uttar Pradesh, total 70 cases, and Kathodam area in Nainital district of Uttarakhand, total 21 cases were reported. This is the tract of infection. Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. Now, area of infections also increases in Jharkhand, also reported in Punjab, Haryana, nowadays Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat. So many state in still barcode incidents of sporadic cases of glandor were reported in so many states nowadays. Glanders and Farsi Act. In 1899, March 20, Governor General of India passed the Glandar and Farsi Act 1899 for testing and restrictions diseased horse with glanders and the outbreak. It is notifiable by the veterinary authority. It was the first act on animal disease to be propagated in India. It has been now substituted by the Prevention and Control of Infectious and Contagious Disease in Animal Act 2009, which was implemented in the country to prevent, control, and eradicate the infectious and contagious disease affecting the animal and to meet the international obligation of India for facilitating the importation exportation of the animals. This is Glandar and Farsi Act. Now it is converted into enforcement into converted into Prevention and Control of Infectious and Contagious Disease in Animal Act. And all these rules and regulations for importation and exportations under this rule, Prevention and Control of Infectious and Contagious Disease in Animal Act 2009. Generally, on the basis of duration of infection, on the basis of intensity of infections, clinical progress of disease, it is generally two forms, acute form and chronic form. Acute form, the disease, a glandar disease in acute form generally present in donkey and mule, whereas in chronic form it is found in horses. So clinical symptoms in acute form generally found in donkey and mules. Nasal, pulmonary, and cutaneous, and on the basis of source of infections, that is Burkholderia malayi, and this source of infection, that is causative organism, which affect the most of the organ that are the organ which are mostly affected. On the basis of that, the glanders are further divided into three notifiable category, that is nasal, pulmonary, and cutaneous form of glanders. An animal may be affected by more than one form at a time. Both pulmonary, nasal, and cutaneous occurs alone in single form or in combination with other forms. In the early stage, the submaxillary lymph nodes are enlarged and odematous, and later become adherent to the skin or deeper tissue. In initial stage, lymphatics, lymph vessels, lymph glands, the causative organism Burkholderia malayi present and enlarged, inflamed that lymph vessels. A picture shows the nodules of lymphatic vessel tract in the cervical region in a donkey. Clinical sign also in acute for involvement of all three sites, as earlier told, pulmonary, cutaneous, and nasal is common in acute form of glandar in a donkey. Photograph shows granulomatous lesion in the lip of a donkey. Granulomatous lesions. This is characteristic features, and extensive pyogenic granulomatous pneumonia in pneumonic form, that is in pulmonary form, also found in donkey. This picture shows an extensive pyogenic granulomatous pneumonia in a donkey in pulmonary form. Acute form of glanders generally found in mule and donkey. It is characterized by high fever, cough, nasal discharge, ulcer on the nasal mucosa, nodules on the skin of the lower limb or abdomen. Death occurs due to septicemia and anoxia. The picture shows mucopurulent discharge. Either mucopurulent discharge, either unilateral or bilateral. Pulmonary form. In pulmonary form, there is chronic coughing. Pulmonary means lungs. Mostly affected organ is the lungs. There is chronic coughing, frequent epistaxis, and labor breathing and pneumonia. The picture shows mucopurulent, copious amount, yellowish discharge with and this is blood tinged discharge. This is character blood tinged copious amount mucopurulent discharge followed by blood tinged. This is characteristic feature of the glanders, the animal suffering from the glanders. In pulmonary form, a small tubercle-like nodules which have caseous or calcified center. Shown in picture, caseous and calcified center surrounded by inflammatory zones are found in the lung. This is the characteristic feature of the pulmonary form. That is caseous or calcified center surrounded by inflammatory zones. All these lesions found in the lung, shown in this picture. If the disease process is extensive, consolidation of the lung tissue and pneumonia may be present. That is the extension of the disease. Nodules tend to break down and may discharge their content into the bronchioles, resulting in extension of the infection of the upper tract. In general, the series of nodules present in the nasal cavity, present in the nasal septum, followed by affected in pulmonary form, present in lung, and if breakdown and causes ulcer, then responsible for pneumonia and pneumonic sign, coughing, dyspnea, so many mnemonic signs. Nasal form. Second form, that is nasal form. Lesion appear on the lower part of the turbinate and cartilaginous nasal septum. Series of nodules present on the nasal septums. They commence as nodules, that is diameter of 1 centimeter and ulcer, and heal with formation of characteristic star-shaped scars. After healing, this characteristic is healing marks, that is characteristic star-shaped scars. In early stage, there is a serous discharge is usually unilateral, followed by bilateral, and if disease progress, then initially it is serous, then mucopurulent, then purulent, then blood tinged. Cutaneous form, also known as force. In this form, nodule appear along the course of the lymph vessels, particularly of the extremity. In cutaneous form, initially the lymphatics, inflammation enlargement of the lymphatics, followed by a series of nodules present around the lymphatics. Then ulceration of nodules. This is the nodules found on around the lymphatics. And nodules in case of cutaneous form generally present on the legs, thigh region, around the legs and around the extremity. In this picture, nodules present around the legs, around the lymphatics. Large number of nodules present. This is also nodules in extremity. This is after ulceration, yellowish discharge. Shown in these pictures. These nodules degenerate and form ulcer and discharge and these discharge are highly infectious, and it is a sticky pus. The liver, if infection proceeds, then liver and spleen also must show typical nodular lesion, and those responsible for chronic wasting disease, debilitating. Chronic form. As earlier we have already discussed about the acute and chronic form. Chronic form means slow progression of disease. Generally, heart suffering from the diseases, all the three forms, pulmonary, nasal, and cutaneous, that is all the organ, either single or in combination, affected also in chronic form, and almost similar characteristic features found in the chronic form. This is the picture. We are trying to explain this by this picture. This is initial serous, yellowish discharge, then bilateral blood tinged discharge, unilateral blood tinged discharge. This is bilateral nasal discharge. In horses, in general, postmortem is not conducted if a horse died or euthanized with the suffering from glanders. But our study point of view, post-veterinarian can be conducted postmortem examination with the study point of view, with research, for research point of view. What are the findings in postmortem lesion in acute form? Multiple petechial hemorrhage throughout the body. We are trying to explain on this picture. Multiple petechial hemorrhage, but in picture it is not very clear. but multiple petechial throughout the body along with catarrhal bronchopneumonia and enlarged bronchial lymph node are seen in postmortem lesions. In lung, numerous gray lungs and also in nasal septums. Numerous gray, hard, small 2 to 10 biliary nodules and diffused pneumonia are found in one or more pulmonary lobe due to homogeneous disseminations. Nasal septums as well as in lungs, these are the large number of nodules found in case of in postmortem finding. In chronic form, miliary nodules on lungs, ulcer on upper respiratory tract, skin of lower limb, all and abdomen. This is also found in the miliary nodules found in that area. Pyogranulomatous nodules develop in the nasal, which is subsequently ulcerate, releasing large amount of Burkholderia malei organism into the nasal exudates. Postmortem lesion also in characteristic small multiple nodules are found in the mucosa and surrounded by narrow hyperemic halo. This is characteristic features. Ulcerative lesion in mucosa are healed and replaced by typical, as earlier we have discussed, satellite or star-shaped fibrous scar. This is characteristic features also shown in postmortem lesion. Genetic potentials. What is zoonosis? We all are know about glanders are generally it is genetic disease. What about genetic potentials? In 1793, a first human case of glanders was reported in the French veterinarian Dr. Charles Weil de Saint-Nevel. The first principals of London Veterinary College was suffering from this disease and subsequently he died. Recently, clinical glanders appears in a 33 years old microbiologist at the US Army Medical for infectious disease in March 2000 and treated successfully. This in 2000 he is treated successfully with combination of antibiotics. In India, what about scenario in India? The only authentic cases of glanders reported in India is Zeiser in 1913, a veterinary pathologist at Punjab Veterinary College, that is integrated part of India, Lahore, Punjab Veterinary College, Lahore, who contracted the disease while autopsying an infected horse and during postmortem examinations, and himself underwent 45 operations, including amputation of an arm before he died. But we can't save the life of those scientists or pathologists. Man is also susceptible to infections, which is usually fatal, with very high mortality rate of 90 to 95% in untreated septicemic infections and 50% mortality rate in treated septicemic infections in humans. Transmissions of Burkholderia malei from animal to human is generally not seen commonly. It is accidental occurrence. Generally, it is not found. Animal to human and human to human transmission is also very rare. A person to person transmission is also a very rare event. Human epidemics have not occurred, but isolated outbreaks have been documented. After discussing this, glandar science in horse, we are also I'm trying to explain what are the different signs found in infection of glandars in humans. Symptoms in human include low-grade fever and chills, malaise, fatigue, myalgias, backache, headache, rigors, and chest pain, lymphadenopathy. These are the characteristic signs. Excessive lacrimation, inflammation, swelling of the nose, swelling of the nose, inflammation around the cheeks, drooping of the lips, photophobia. This is picture of human beings suffering from the both the pictures suffering of human beings suffering from the glandars, Burkholderia malei infections. Photophobia, copious amount of initially small amount of nasal discharge followed by copious amount of nasal discharge, facial swelling, bronchitis, because series of nodules found in lungs and along nasal septums, also in human being, and mucopurulent sputum, dyspnea. I'm trying to explain with picture, that is facial nerve paralysis. In case if a human being, if a man are suffering from Burkholderia malei, that is initially facial nerve paralysis, drooping of the mouth corners, smoothing of the foreheads, inability to close eyelid. These are the characteristic signs found in any human being who is suffering from the glanders. Disease in human, as earlier we discussed about disease in equine, also in three forms: cutaneous, pulmonary. In equine, it is three form: cutaneous, pulmonary, and nasal form. Whereas in human being, it is cutaneous, pulmonary, septicemic, and chronic form, acute, chronic. Whereas in case of human being, cutaneous, pulmonary, and septicemic and chronic form. One form also reported in few books, that is mucosal form. Mucosal form, it is not a separate form, but it is a nasal form, that is called as mucosal or nasal form. In case of cutaneous forms, we are trying to film with some few pictures. Incubation period in 1 to 5 days. Erythema and ulceration of the skins. Papular lesion erupting on the body are seen in cutaneous form. This is shown in picture. Initial phase shown in palms, followed by this. And this is characteristic erythema and small nodular appearance, small patches, small red color patches. Peculiar characteristic sign of glandular of the people suffering from glanders, that is blister, single blisters, and then ulceration. Single blister, then ulceration. Glanders node is seen as single blister developing into ulcer, discharge, and lymphangitis. Single arising of development of single blister followed by ulceration and the discharge, ulcerations, and lymphangitis, lymphadenopathy, nodule along lymph vessels. Many blisters, initially single blister followed by many blisters, a series of blisters, highly infectious exudate released from blister, and case fatality rate 20% when treated. If not treated, then 95%. This is also some pictures shown in cutaneous form. This, so many pictures. This is shows cutaneous form, single blisters in many form. Disease occur in many form in case of human beings. Many clinical condition in cutaneous form shown in humans. It depends. This is another progressive condition of cutaneous form of disease. This single blister into multiple blisters and ulcerations. Single blisters, multiple single blisters, single eruption blisters, multiple blisters in face area, blisters around entire body in case of human being shown in pictures. This is also cutaneous form. In pulmonary, incubation period 10 to 14 days. Inhalation of aerosolized bacteria is this, responsible for pulmonary infections. Hematogenous spread to the lungs, pneumonia, pulmonary abscess, pleural effusions, series of nodules found in lung, liver, spleen in case of pulmonary form. And these nodules ruptures causing ulcers, and which is responsible for dyspnea, coughing, mucopurulent sputum. Case fatality rate 90 to 95% if untreated, and 40% if treated with aggressive antibiotic therapy. In septicemia, septicemic form is most dangerous form. Incubation period 1 to 5 days. Any site of infection can lead to sepsis, fever, chills, myalgia, chest pain, rash, tachycardia, jaundice, photophilia, lacrimations, respiratory distress, dyspnea, coughing, mucopurulent coughing, nasal discharge. All are found in septicemic form. Case fatality rate greater than 95% if untreated, and 50 greater than 50% in case of treated case. And it is, this form is rapidly fatal in human being. Clinical sign in chronic form: farcy, multiple abscess, muscles, joint, spleen, liver, weight loss, all symptoms. Chronic wasting diseases, weight loss due to development of uh, nodules in liver, spleen, and lungs. Lymphadenopathy, case fatality rate 50% if treated, and after treatment the disease also relapse. Relapse of this disease is common in this chronic form, and disease can last up to 25 years. Sampling: if people working in equine sectors and if animal suffering suspected for glanders disease. Sampling, what are the different criteria, different condition, different prerequisite and precautions during sampling of glanders. Before collecting or sending any samples, the first of all, you must should be contact to the competent authority and the laboratory where the sample is sent. In India, only two designated laboratory. One is the National Research Center Equine Hisar, and second one is the Military Laboratory Meerut. Central Military Laboratory Meerut, which is two important laboratory designated for glanders testing in India. Samples would only be sent under a secure condition and to authorized laboratory. These are the two authorized laboratory to prevent. For identification of lesion, whole lesion or section of lesions, send with sample. Respiratory exudate, smear from fresh lesions can be sent. Samples should be kept cool and shipped on wet ice as soon as possible. Sections of lesion is kept in 10% buffer formalin, and air dried smear of exudate on glass slide should be submitted for microscopic examination. These are the prerequisite or criteria for sending the samples. For serological tests, serum samples should be collected aseptically the spread of the disease. Diagnosis. What are the different diagnostic tests which is responsible for diagnosis of the glanders? First one is the isolation of Burkholderia malei from blood. Where is the source of infections? Blood, sputum, urine, or skin lesions. Myelin test from myelin test intrapalpebral or conjunctival injection. Initially, myelin test is conducted, but at present scenario, serological test, complement fixation test is the important test for testing of the glanders. And myelin test initial also a reliable test, but at present complement fixation test recommended by World Organization for Animal Health. And these complement fixation test and ELISA is most reliable test in horse. Samples, we are trying to explain, just introduce the slides and clinical samples, nasal swab, abscess swab, needle, aspirate, etc. And media, nutrient blood agar supplemented with dextrose, glycerol, and antibiotic solutions, and incubation period about 20 or mixed culture taken, and this is the Burkholderia. Well, just introduce the slides which will look like for testing in laboratory mixed culture. All culture suspected for containing Burkholderia malei should be handled in a biological safety cabinet as per a standard guideline provided by OIE. This is sample for 24 hours culture sample, and this is 48 hours. Burkholderia malei look like picture, electron microscopy, and this is PCR based detection for separation for identification of Burkholderia malei and differentiation between characterization and differentiation between Burkholderia malei and Burkholderia pseudomalei. Diagnosis in humans. Culture and gram stains like sputum, urine, skin lesion, blood, gram negative bacillus is also gram negative bacilli, safety pin appearance. So many things are also found in case of human being as well as in case of glandar testing. Equines, human agglutination test, basically HI tests may be positive after 7 to 10 days, and high background titer in normal sera makes is responsible for difficult to diagnose. And HI test is initially HI test was conducted, but at present complement fixation test and ELISA test responsible for detections of glandar in human being. Complement fixation test is more specific, positive if titer is equal to greater than 1:20. Chest radiograph for the pulmonary form of the disease, and PCR for responsible for characterization and identification of Burkholderia malei. Differential diagnosis, what are the disease which is similar to the glandars in case of human and in case of equine. In case of equine, milidiosis, strangles, lymphangitis, and other form of pneumonia, guttural pouch diseases, empyema, dermatophilosis, and dermatomycosis. Whereas in case of human, typhoid fevers, tuberculosis, syphilis, erysipelas, lymphangitis, pyemia, Yaz, and milidiosis. These are the diseases which are similar to the Burkholderia malei, glandars diseases. And before Going to diagnosis, these are the differential diagnosis of the above diseases, mentioned diseases. Treatment. According to Glender and Forsyth Act 1899, affected animal must be destroyed and disposed of safely, and it is a notifiable disease for eradication. Affected animals should not be treated because it may result in carrier estate. In nutshell, only testing, tracing, testing, and eradication, elimination means slaughtered policy. But treatment, for treatment point of view, sodium sulfadiazine is reported to be effective in hamsters. Doxycycline and ciprofloxacin have also been found to be useful. Therapeutic regimen for glanders require prolonged course of treatment, prolonged and aggressive therapy required for treatment of glanders. And usually treatment should be continued for 20 to 20 days or more days required for treatment. Use of formalin-killed Burkholderia mallei and sulfadiazine or maline and sulfonilamides are effective in the horses. Basically, sulfa drugs, sulfadiazine, trimethoprim, sulfamethoxazoles. These drugs are highly effective in present scenario, clavulanic acid. Some cases treated by enrofloxacin in stud horses in Pakistan. But at present, sulfur drugs are also high effective. Use of drug in acute form of glandar in equine increase the lifespan of the horse, but treated horse always act as carrier, source of infections. And now use of antibiotic in liposomal form was found to be more effective in vitro study. The treatment of horses includes single or combination use of antibiotic like ceftizidime, sulfadiazine, trimethoprim, sulfamethoxazole, gentamicin. All are effective at different level, but aggressive antibiotic therapy is required. Nowadays, piperacillin, tazobactam is highly effective for treatment of glanders, but ultimately the cost of therapy is too high, so it can only be used in precious horses, but it should not replace the testing, tracing, testing, and slaughter policy. So ultimately test and slaughter the animals who suspected for glanders disease in equine. Treatment in human. Recently, the prophylactic usefulness of cotrimoxazole for Burkholderia mallei has been suggested in humans. Treatment with sulfonamide, trimethoprim, sulfamethoxazoles has been recommended, followed by piperacillin, tazobactam as an alternative for currently used drug, ceftizidime for the treatment of both glanders and melioidosis in view of the emergence of ceftizidime resistant clinical isolate in Southeast Asia. In case of animal, testing and slaughter policy, but in case of human being, aggressive antibiotic therapy is required for treatment of human. Few pictures taken shown the treatment in case of human. This is before treatment. Such a picture before treatment of glanders and after the treatment. The face of a people who suffering from glanders before and after. Prevention and control. No human or veterinary vaccines are available for immunization and prevention of the glanders. At present, no vaccine is available for immunizations and treatment of glanders. Clinical and serological survey is rare, very rare. In Indian condition, it is very rare. Recovered animal are also not immune. Recovered animal is source of infections. So every animal positive for glanders should be destroyed and remaining animals should be retested at interval of 3 weeks until all reactors should have been removed. At present scenario, in case of death due to glanders, carcass should not be opened. It must be buried or incinerated. Adequate compensation to the owners for destroying the horses. Manure, bedding, and feed residue should be burned or buried. Burning is the very important, either burned or buried. Destructions of the infected animal. This is pictures. We are regularly detecting the diseases by complement serological test, by complement fixation test, and the carcass of animal disposed, either burial. Generally, two ways to dispose the carcass of the affected animal, either burial or burning. Burning is the best way to dispose the carcass, but in Indian conditions, generally burial is economically important. So burial, before burial, euthanasia If glandar is positive after 2 repeated tests, if glandar animal is suffering from glandars and glandar is detected, 2 serological test examinations continuous. If animal is positive, then go for euthanasia, painless death. For euthanasia point of view, the use of pentobarbital or pentobarbital combinations or magnesium sulfate being used for treatment of the disease. And generally, thiopental sodium used 1 gram per 100 kg body weight used for euthanasia point of view. This is our team in Bareilly district working for euthanasia. The horse who's suffering from glandars after detection of CFT test, and team ready for euthanasia, team led by Dr. Ram Lakhan, Dr. Sunil, and Brooks, Dr. Dinesh Gupta, and along with other veterinarians who's working in Bareilly for a synchronized way to euthanize the horse. Burial sites, all site selection for burials, and away from the streams, rivers, canals, any water, always away from the water body. There is no water body or canal found in nearby area, and minimum required space for burial is area requirement 3 square yards and minimum 8 feet deep required for burial of the horse. Carcass is covered with quicklime followed by filling of the pit with swales. This is video. Of euthanasia shown in video. Our euthanasia with initial thiopental sodium, then solution of use the next. This is the first solution of next and first kind. Higher dose of solution of next. Blowing of wind, that is the this is the process for euthanasia and infusion of next infusion with continuous This is second video. First initial after infusion of the all of them all with the help of the administration, with the permission of the administration, this is very important. This all other deliberation of our animal has synchronized, and with the help of this TCD and horse put into deep tuning video. During horse in a pit with fore and hind leg kept upward. This is the appropriate for the person. Upwards. After line and sack mixing in the pits.
वीडियो बंद कर दूं?
Yes. Number.
ऊपर डाल बोलेगा और हेलमेट गिर जाने का यार। कटा नहीं डालो हाथ से, थोड़ा थोड़ा डालो। थोड़ा दूरी, बस रोक लो डालो ऐसा तैयार।
area which also disinfectant with time where horse for back all the area and all the line. This is actual soon after decade and anything. With consent of our owners and our members remove the PPE. Huge. Quick line. Always this is the process of euthanasia, and after that fencing of around surround area to prevent the encroachment by dogs or any wild animals, and follow vigorous disinfection program. After that, after euthanasia, vigorous disinfection program for premises, feed and water trough. The entire suspect in contact animal must be isolated, properly tested, and positive animal should be destroyed. There is for testing, tracing, and tracing, contact tracing, then testing for area about 25. We first of all we identify the foci of the infections from the nucleus or foci of the infection. Nucleus of the infection, 5 kilometer range, 100% serosurveillance of 100% half hours. After 5 to 20 kilometers, 20% of hours for serosurveillance for testing of the disease, and after 25 to 50, physical examination for identification and testing of the disease. For physical examinations, the horse showing any symptoms of Burkholderia malaria or glanders showing any symptoms or not. There should be restrictions of the movement of horse. Entire suspect in contact animal must be isolated, properly tested, and positive animals should be destroyed. There should be restrictions of the movement of the horses. Strict isolation, proper hygiene and sanitation procedures should be adopted. Disinfections of surrounding of dead or infected animals should be done. Burkholderia malaria is highly susceptible to common expectorant like benzylcholium chlorides, iodine, mercurous chloride, in alcohol, potassium permanganate, 1% sodium hypochlorite, 70% ethanols, or 2% glutaraldehyde. It is also highly sensitive to 24-hour and dark in sunlight. The organism of Burkholderia malaria also survive in clean water for 4 days, up to 4 days. It is less susceptible to phenolic disinfectants. It is also destroyed by heating to 55 degree. for 10 minutes or by ultraviolet irradiations. Prevention and control with contaminated materials should be cleaned with a solution of 1 part household bleach, 0.5% sodium hypochlorite solution to 9 part of the water. Veterinarians, animal handlers, and person in contact with infected animals should follow appropriate biosafety measures, wear gloves and mask during animal handling. Active surveillance of glandar is very important, and timely recognition of Burkholderia malayi future prospects. What is the future prospects? Active surveillance of glandar. Earlier we are discussing about 25-kilometer range, 5 kilometer, 20%. But horses 1 year below 1 year age, 100% zero surveillance is required. And a timely recognition of Burkholderia malayi is a key factor for adopting suitable therapy. For this, it is Burkholderia malayi is a notifiable disease. Regulatory measures call for culling, disposal of the diseased animals in certain circumstances where wildlife conservation activity are being followed, and in case of extremely valuable breeding stocks, effective treatment regimen and post-exposure prophylaxis are the need of the hours. Development of effective glandar medical countermeasures and effective novel vaccines are the need of the hours. At present, there is no vaccine, and no human cases at present reported in, also no human cases reported in India. An international veterinary certificate is required attesting the animals showed no clinical sign of glandars and were kept in exporting country free of the disease for at least 6 months prior to shipment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for your nice presentation. We are getting so many. We have received so many questions, and also at the same time we have received so many comments and compliments also. Comments in the form of compliments like informative presentation and other. So now, sir, I would like to share the questions which have been asked by our different veterinarians. So I'll share the questions, sir. There is a question. First question has been asked by Dr. Niladri Prasad, and he had asked, can glandars be prevented by any vaccine? Please tell antibiotic therapy for the same. He asked the question, and I think, sir, you have already given the reply for this question. So you can reply again, sir. Dr. Niladri Prasad has asked this.
No vaccine is available for glandars. Only and horse can't be saved with antibiotic. There is a regress antibiotic therapy, aggressive antibiotic therapy for required for treatment of horse. But after recovery of the horse always after recovery from glandars, horse always act as a carrier. It is a source of infections. So only and only best way to remove the source of infections and test, trace, and slaughter policy. At present, no vaccine is available. Actually, Burkholderia malayi is gram-negative bacteria, and it has escaped from phagocytic activity by the by the capsular due to presence of capsules and lipopolysaccharides present in this bacteria. So it's escape phagocytic activity. So test and slaughter. It is good policy for remove the source of infection.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Another question has been asked by Dr. Akshat Shukla. At field level, how can it be differentiated from other diseases?
Yes,
Like the similar type of question have been asked by Dr. Rajinder also, sir.
Yes, it is very good question. At field level, how can it be differentiated from other diseases? For a detection of detection of glandars, Burkholderia malayi, in field level, initially we are performing Maillin test, clinical examination as well as Maillin test. Maillin test, purified protein, it is a Maillin test conducted during field level. Purified protein, Maillin test means Maillin purified protein derivatives generally injected at the neck region of the horse, that is subcutaneously or injected at below the eyelid at auriculopalpebral region, and after infusion, that is intradermal, or with after infusion of purified protein derivatives, there is inflammation and ocular discharge along with increased body temperature. This is highly sensitive at reduction of the field level, and other diseases in other diseases. This malign test is negative, so we can initially we perform the malign test and clinical examination, and these are the clinical symptoms. Clinical examination, clinical symptom, and malign test responsible for detection of the Burkholderia malaria at field level. And malign test is very reliable and sensitive test at field level.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sir, Dr. Rajinder had also asked that, means did not ask the question, he just wanted your comment that nodules on limb may be seen in caseous lymphangitis also. So just like that, he had, no, he just require your comment on that. I think he was asking regarding the differential diagnosis to the glanders, between glanders and caseous lymphangitis.
Lymphangitis and glanders, basically in case of glanders disease, there is localization of Burkholderia malaria microorganism, and serial, in case of lymphangitis, only inflammation of the lymph vessels, whereas in case of glanders, there is serial of nodules present, initially inflammation followed by serial of nodules, and then ulceration present in case of glanders. And this is generally present in distal part, at distal extremity. In case of glandular infections, Burkholderia malaria present in distal part, distal extension, generally in hind quarter, forequarter, limbs, and in thigh regions. And in case of lymphangitis, inflammation. In case of glanders, inflammation with the nodule followed by ulceration. This is the characteristic clinical features.
Thank you, sir. Sir, next two questions have been asked by Dr. Ramesh. First is how to proceed when we find the case of glanders in area during sero surveillance. I think that reply you had already given. This question, sir, Dr. Ramesh asked before giving that slide. Another question in the same line he had asked, what to do if we get exposed to glanders accidentally?
When we find the case of glanders in area during surveillance, yes, it is very important questions. And first of all, it is notifiable disease. First of all, inform to district district at district level, district veterinary officers or chief veterinary officers, and district administrations, followed by sero surveillance tracing, then two continuous test for complement fixation test for glanders positive, and then elimination of the source of infection, and followed by 5 kilometer, 5 to 20 kilometer, 25 kilometer, and then 25 to 50 kilometer area of surveillance with 100% sampling, with 20% sampling, and 25 to 50 kilometer with physical examinations. And what to do if we get exposed to glanders accidentally? Generally, those people who has cut, utmost precaution is taken by people, those who has cut or abrasion or any cut or abrasion in the skin, always avoid to direct contact with any suspected case of horse suffering from glanders. And only aggressive, first of all, we go for sero testing, and then after, if generally in India there is no human glandular cases reported up to till date, but unfortunately if we got infection, then go for aggressive antibiotic therapy, and first of all contact to medical officers for that purpose.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there were many questions, but the seventh question I had given as the last question. If any other questions are there, I will share it. The seventh question is, if human beings can be treated with antibiotics, can horses and mules be treated likewise? This is a question by Dr. Niladri.
Yes, human being treated with antibiotic, and horse and mules cannot be treated likewise. Definitely, it is very good question. But horse always act as a after aggressive. Two very important things: cost-wise therapy, treatment of horse with for glanders is very costly. aggressive antibiotic therapy required for 1 month or more than 1 month, and cost that is very I think it is not economic. And then horse and mules, mules, in case of mules there is no chance of treatment in mules. This is acute form, and mules are died in very few days. But in case of horses, horse are generally in horse chronic form of blinders are present, and in horse after recovery, it is act as a carrier. It source Burkholderia malii is localized in different organ of horse with localized infections. So elimination source of infections after recovery in case of horse. In case of horses, one form is also chronic for in chronic cases. Then one form is latent form. In latent form, the microorganism Burkholderia malii present in up to 25 years in case of horses. So and it is at a source of infections. So treatment of horse is not possible with antibiotic therapy. And in case of human being, there is no for such type of localization in human being, and cost effectiveness is not important in case of human being. So treatment of human being is possible, and at present one fellow microbiologist of United States America can be treated by aggressive antibiotic therapy, but horse act as a source of carrier.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for sharing, for updating us regarding this, glanders and Farsi zoonotic importance about this disease. Now, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Santosh Shinde, sir.
Thank you, sir, for such an informative presentation. A warm and graceful evening to all the participants and Honorable KP Singh, sir. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks speech to those who really work very hard to make this webinar successful. On the behalf of all the participants and Alembic Pharmaceutical Limited, myself, Dr. Santosh Shinde, express my sincere gratitude to Dr. KP Singh, sir, for such a applied and informative presentation on the re-emerging zoonotic disease, that is glandular and Farsi. Sir, this presentation will definitely help the participating veterinarian, field veterinarian, faculty, student, and researcher for their day-to-day activities, sir. I would like to say, sir, apart from India, we got participation from Somalia, Bangladesh, Nepal, Indonesia, and Malaysia. So this presentation will help this participating veterinarian also, sir. Lastly, I would like to thank Mr. P. Karunanidhi for his continuous support and guidance, Mr. R.K. Sharma, AGM Sales, and his entire field force of Alembic for making this webinar successful. Once again, thank you very much to all the participating veterinarians and Honorable KP Singh, sir. Thank you very much.